Welcome to football and the kitchen sink. Get ready for in-depth conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro football. Plus some insight about the rest of the world. All this, along with some fun and humor along the way. Pull up a chair, grab a coffee or a beer, and join us. It's football and the kitchen sink. Here are your hosts, Coach Schuman and Coach Depascale.
Oh, we're back at it.
Back at it.
Abrupt cutoff. I must have used one of the other intros because it's an abrupt cutoff. So I don't know why that is the case, but good to have you back after quite a high hiatus. I explained to the folks, so I softened them up, your technical difficulties.
Brutal.
So
what I get for trying to live in paradise.
Yeah, the paradise. Well, in the winter, it's probably not paradise. Probably windy as heck, huh?
Yeah, which caused some power outages around the area. Add a little ice to it, and it's a whole slew of options. So here's what it is, but good to be back. Good to be back, that's for sure.
Well, you missed my advanced breakdown of the Super Bowl.
I saw a little bit of it. I tried to do my due diligence and stay up on it. But like I said, I think you did a great job flying solo. It was definitely I enjoyed the game itself. A lot of people, I think, said it was somewhat boring, but as a defensive guy, I enjoyed it very much. Ultimately, seeing plays like that, seeing the best offense in the league kind of get shut down. Overall, I think it was a good game. It really was. Judging by the parade that Tampa Bay had today, I think it was pretty awesome. They did it on boats. There was a lot of interesting tidbits to come from it. Tom Brady looked like he had himself a good time. That's for sure.
Yeah, I posted a little post of him throwing the Lombardi trophy.
His toss was rather interesting. Yeah, I think a lot of people would question that.
Yeah. So are you saying that he was a few sauced out drinks in there?
Did you see him getting escorted away by so and so right past cameras and things like that? I think he deserved it though. It's actually funny. You can hear his daughter in the background before he goes to throw the Lombardi trophy to Gronk, and you can hear her say, "Daddy, no."
Daddy, chill.
But it's got to be a pretty cool experience, I think, for at least him to see, that now his kids are of an age where they kind of understand that, like, what Daddy does, and to come from where probably in his first Super Bowl that some of them, they probably weren't even born or babies and didn't really understand it, and now they're kind of like a part of it. I think that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, I saw. Here's the toss. Yeah.
Well, wasn't it Gronk a few years ago that used it as a baseball bat and swung at a Bud Light can and ultimately invented it? I think that was him. So, I mean, this just kind of follows suit. But look, they look like they had a good time.
That's funny. That was
I wonder if it's the first Super Bowl parade that ever went down on boats.
Yeah, I wonder if it is the first Super Bowl parade ever go down on boats. That'd be a good, interesting thing to know whether it was.
I think it's definitely pretty cool.
What are we? What day is it?
Kind of wish I went down to Tampa for all of this.
Oh, I know you would enjoy that a ton.
Did you imagine, like, you'd just be sitting in it, like in the middle of it? Like, okay, I mean, I'm sure the town's. If you think about it, though, and this is what they were talking about on sports radio, you had, the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? Like, Tampa Bay has been Title Town USA for this year. I mean.
Oh, that's right. They won hockey.
They won hockey. You know what I mean? They win football. Baseball went further than they ever did. They were in the finals, the World Series. So Tampa Bay is the place to be right now.
Definitely the place to be. It's a great spot. I was saying yesterday that, several times Shane Stafford almost convinced me to move down there. I was going down there so much. I almost did.
I've heard a couple of your stories. But yeah, ultimately it's a nice place. It's a good spot. Like you said, I think it's, I think it's a place that's they're kind of set up to go. I mean, they're not losing much coming back next year. Brady already said straight up, I'm coming back. It's just a matter of how good other teams around them get.
Yeah, no doubt. So that leads me to what I wanted to lead off today with and see if we could come up with this. The top 10 players of all time in the NFL. I don't think we've ever done this. Every position. I don't think we finished our positions, by the way, but we could come back to that at some point.
Top 10 all time.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a little time to think about it because let me see. I have a brownie in the oven of my diet brownies from I'm going to grab while you think about it, and I'm going to send a quick message out here. Top 10 players of all time in the NFL.
So, and we're talking obviously all positions across the board.
Oh, can you take it out? Okay, I'll take it out right now. All right, so I put it in the chat, so I put it out there for everybody, and then I'll be back in about 30 seconds with a nice warm brownie. Mommy would have to.
So, top 10 players. I mean, we're talking a span of, generations here. So, obviously, like you're thinking of the names that right away obviously stick in my head are names like Walter Payton, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning. I have a feeling like I'm going to forget somebody. Dick Butkus. I mean, honestly, what I really should do, right, is I should go back and look at who I had for our top 10 players, right, for position-wise is really what I should do, and then just go off of that list, right? You would think that that's how it would kind of be the best way to follow suit, right? So if I look back in my notes, since I obviously have all of them because that's what it comes OCD when it comes to that type of stuff. Man, that's a tough one. Top 10 of all time. Top 10 all time. The question is, does a lineman even make the list? I'm talking offensive lineman. A defensive lineman is somewhere on there. There's no doubt for that.
All right, Troy.
But that being said,
Here you go, sir.
That's tough. Definitely tough.
Did you talk to him at all, or you just do thinking?
No, I've been talking my way through it, because I'm thinking, obviously the easiest way to do it would just be go back and look at all the lists and said, who do I have as my top 10 for position wise? And then just go off of that.
Do you want to try and do it without looking?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And then I'm trying to talk it through and I'm saying, is there even an offensive lineman on this list?
Well, Anthony Munoz, we both had as number one.
I guess you could, yeah. But where do I would put him maybe at like an 8 or a 9.
You want me to go?
Number one comes down to two different people. I
know who number one is.
You're gonna say Tom Brady.
And I said yesterday I wasn't a Tom Brady fan.
Me neither.
So he definitely earned. I'm a Cowboys fan.
He's my 2.
Listen, I used to hate the New England football team. Okay, I was a Cowboy fan. What?
I do have my number 1.
Okay. All right. Let's. I mean, you can use lists. I'm trying to think of who my favorite DB. Oh, I know.
No.
I have a DB on there. I just thought of who it is. There's no doubt
on there. I just don't know where. I don't know how high. Like,
who do we have at number 1 linebacker? Who did I have at linebacker number 1? Must have Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, you said Lawrence Taylor.
The top one is going to be the 2. Which 2 that's on the all-time list? Which 2's at their position? Does a kicker get on there?
Hell, I don't think so.
Juan Stenerau. You don't even know who that is.
No.
He was a kicker who at one time held the record for points. Morton Anderson, I think, broke it.
This is tough.
Let's see. All right, you want me to take Mike Rack first?
I know who my 1 and 2 are.
I'm gonna go 10-1. See if I can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
What did we? Oh, okay, all right. Number 10. I'm gonna go Anthony Munoz. He's my one lineman offensive lineman that makes the list. He's a top lineman. I think we both had him as the top lineman. There's no controversy there. Why is he not higher? Well, unfortunately, as an offensive lineman, and I'm going to give you more time to think about this as you're doing it, as I'm doing it, because as an offensive lineman, it's hard to quantify things in the same way. That's probably the hardest thing. But is he the most dominant? Yeah, that is why he is number 10. Okay. There's going to be a couple QBs on this, in my opinion, maybe more than a few. So I tried to leave room for that. Okay. Number 9 is Barry Sanders.
Okay.
Okay. Running backs in the old days were much more valuable. I think I had him as my number 3, I think. Have him as number 3? I think so, behind Emmett. The only reason he's not higher is because he didn't score a boatload of touchdowns. But I have him as number 9. Number 8. My number 2 receiver, Randy Moss. Number 8, Randy Moss. Maybe the best deep threat of all time. Probably, yes. I mean, I don't know. I guess you'd have to go through it. And by the way, what's along the lines of Randy Moss, I saw just kind of in my head, Drew Pearson finally got into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I might have mentioned it yesterday briefly, but which is pretty cool. And I said that might clear the way for Cliff Branch to make the Hall of Fame, which, different era passing wise, so the numbers aren't quite the same, when you compare it to the guys now. But they were doing it with safeties, with the safety over the top all the time. You got to think about that.
I never left the middle of the field.
Yeah, so you always had somebody chasing you over the top. There wasn't. You might have been the man-to-man at times.
Yeah, but it was different.
It was different. You had someone chasing over the top just because
it's just the way it was.
Different game. So number 8, Randy Moss. Number 7, I gotta come down to the defensive ends in that area. I think I had, and this is really off memory, but I think I'm right. I had number 2 at my defensive end as Bruce Smith. And so I think he should be number 7. So Bruce Smith, obviously dominant defensive end. It's gonna get tight down here as we start to get to it. So I don't know if I'm gonna get this 100% right. If I'm trying to leave a certain amount of positions open, I don't know if I will have done this successfully. I will not have. Who did I have as the number 1 tight end?
Gonzalez.
It's hard for me to leave him off the top 10.
I
just.
My list might surprise you.
What?
I feel like I'm forgetting somebody.
This is a difficult list. This is as difficult as it comes, because there's so many QBs that make it. Okay, number 6. I'm gonna go with who did I go with as a number 1? Oh, I counted LT as a linebacker. That's right. So number 6, I'm gonna have to go with Reggie White then as my number 6. Career speaks for itself. Number 5, I'm going with Dionne Sanders, the most impactful corner of all time. I don't know if he per se was the best. Like Darryl Green, you could argue, was as good as.
You got to argue Revis for his time was.
For the time, he didn't play his time. He played pretty, yeah. At his best, he's pretty close.
And won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think
for that stretch of whatever years it was.
But what put me over, what put me over the top with Dionne is the returning.
Yeah, aspect. He did more.
Prime time. And the fact that at 55 years old, he looks like he's 25 as far as his build is pretty impressive. He must get after it in the gym there. So that's number 5. Number 4. Now this becomes really, really hard.
This is where it really gets tight.
Yep. So number 4 player of all time, I'm going to go with Jerry Rice. Okay. Jerry Rice. The number 3 player of all time would not be in my top guys as a key. Like I think I had number 2 as Payton, right? But I just think the Super Bowls put him over the top. And so I don't think he's for his pure position, but when you add in the other things, he's my number 3, and that's Joe Montana. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I don't think it's so if I was to rate him as a pure quarterback, but as far as a player, a player in the NFL and the impact and all that stuff. And this is hard, man. This is really, really hard because I don't have any old school guys in here, and I'm definitely shafting them.
I think we kind of I don't think we can be that hard on us for that. I mean, I think you go with kind of what you know and what you see, and you're going to lobby on that stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of, I didn't
have a middle linebacker, no middle linebacker, no safety. Number 2, Lawrence Taylor, just from his impact in the game. As long as he was playing in the game, he was the best defensive player. I think he's the best defensive player of all time. I'm sure plenty of people would argue with me about it. And he had the distinct honor of being arrested several times in my hometown, Saddlebrook, because he liked to frequent Route 80 and you know how Saddlebrook intersects with all the big highways
and all it had to offer
and all that. Yeah. He probably was like, hey, I'd love a slice.
Like, hey, I'm on my way back home. Let me just stop off here.
Yeah. Let me just stop off. I know they have a great pizza here. Oh, let me get a cheeseburger, Burger King, or when we had it all in Saddlebrook, fast food capital of the world at one time. Now every place is the fast food capital of the world, but we had it in the 80s, all of them. You name it, we had them all, man. And it was probably what got me the habit where I was skinny, even though I probably ate terrible. And eventually, which led to me having to change my lifestyle because I lived in a town that had more pizza, more fast food,
more everything.
Oh, the greatest Chinese food. Oh, man. What was my
underlying? It's a underrated food town. Let's put it that way.
It is. I mean, well, it's such a small town. You're not going to rate it out because there might be the quantity,
right?
And the good spots. Like we had the Japanese spot, matzo.
You had everything, but there was everything in that town.
Tiny town. You had everything.
The hardest decision every day was,
lunch.
What are we going to do for food?
Lunch, dude. Lunch. It was just incredible what you could get there. We had the barbecue rib place. I mean, Memphis barbecue. Anyway.
We had everything.
Yeah, everything. Anyway, so he probably had a couple of nights when he was out a little too late and stopped off, and they're like, bloop, bloop, oh, you've been doing some things, and it's clink, clink. And they were really nice to him, too, from what I hear, because obviously they knew who he was.
They're like, let's take care of this guy so he keeps coming back.
Yeah, right. Frequenting our places. So that's number 2. Definitely changed the game. Greatest player, obviously won Super Bowls there, too. And number 1, I'm on the Brady train. This is the time to be on it.
I think I'm on it.
I'm on the Brady train. He doesn't have to play another down. I think he secured his spot as the greatest NFL player of all time to date. Not that someone couldn't come along and dethrone him at some point, but it's going to be a long time. And so that's my top 10 list there. And now I defer to you, sir.
So we definitely have some differences. Okay. So what do you want? You want me to go from 10 to 1 like you did?
However you want to do it.
All right. Yeah, I'll go 10 to 1. So my number 10, Tony Gonzalez, tight end, revolutionized the position. I think just changed it overall, made it kind of what it is today. Number 9, Munoz at O-line, obviously the best O-lineman to ever play the game. Number 8 for me is Peyton Manning. Okay, so there's a little switch up. I put Peyton in my top 10. What he did and to watch him continue to get better and then ultimately win one in his last season when probably the physical talent wasn't there, yet he still managed to have his best season. Number 7 is also a different one from you. I have Ray Lewis.
Oh, and I have a swap, by the way.
I
made a mistake. Hold on. So I don't want to ruin your thing, but I realized I screwed up the running back thing. 9 should be Jim Brown. So let me just rephrase that.
So your 9 was Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders.
Barry out and putting in Jim.
Yeah, Barry's out, Jim Brown in. Because I realized as I went through it, I ran out of spots.
Yeah.
I was going to put Emmett and Jim Brown in there, and I realized, no, I can't. So
let me see.
Barry swapped out. I screwed that up. So when we go to the clips, that's definitely we haven't put a clip out in a long time. It's just been long form.
So 7. So my 7, like I said, Ray Lewis, linebacker.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah, I think he's a top 10, hands down, no doubt.
We both had him as number 1 at middle, right? Is that what we had? Okay.
My number 6 is going to be Dionne Sanders.
Okay.
5 will be Lawrence Taylor, outside linebacker. Even though I didn't have him ranked, I don't think as high as some of the others, but I think overall what he did for the game puts him in that top 10 of all time list. My number
because people pass him on the list too of sacks and stuff.
Yeah, of course. Like
he's been passed. Yeah.
My number 4 is Reggie White. I was fortunate enough to see him play. And the things he did at the DN position were just absolutely phenomenal. Number 3, Jerry Rice, best receiver.
Oh, did I not put Jerry Rice in there?
You did it.
No. So Moss is out. Rice is in.
You did it. My number 2, I am on it.
You're better than me.
I was never a Brady fan, but after seeing what he did and the way he continues to get better and just work and can just do what he did, this solidified it for me. So he's my number 2. And then my number 1 top 10 player of all time, Walter Payton, hands down. Just kind of what it is. Yeah.
He only won 1 championship.
I don't care. It's not about that. He was on horrific teams.
Oh, that's terrible.
And as a running back, you're screwed.
So, all right. So I'm going to redo mine because I screwed it up completely. Absolutely screwed it up.
And I did this on the fly.
I did it kind of on the fly. Yeah. All right. So 10. So 9 is now Jim Brown. And then 8 I had is Moss. Sorry, Brandy, you're out. Rice is in. And then I have to redo the rest. So
Smith is 7, White 6,
Smith
5.
White. Who'd have a 5 again?
Dionne.
Yes, that's right. Okay, 4. I had.
Oh no, 4 you had Rice, so you can leave Moss there.
Oh, did I have Rice? Rice
at 4. So yeah, you can leave Moss at 8.
No. Okay, then I had.
Then you had Montana, Taylor.
Okay, so then I could leave. Moss there. All right, so I only screwed up 1. Thank goodness. All right, so 3 is 3. I had Montana. 2 I had Taylor, and 1 I had Okay. All right. I'm happy with that.
Now the whole and look, I think that's a good list on both of our parts, but the whole thing was over, after Brady takes home his whatever, is he the greatest of all time across the board in all of sports?
Oh, all right. Let's do this.
And the argument was basically between
top 5, of all sports. You go first.
I still gotta go Michael Jordan number 1. Michael Jordan number 1.
Any sport.
It was any sport across the board. So the main 3 were Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell.
Say that again.
Tom Brady, Bill Russell, Michael Jordan. But then they were talking, and it was a matter of just the way you look at it. Is it, and then, it was Kareem or Michael Phelps.
All right. So
to
me, there's a big difference between team sports and individual.
Tiger Woods.
Right. So are you saying the greatest? All right. So
they're just saying the GOAT.
The GOAT of their sport all time, top 5. You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
Go ahead.
So you have a little more time to think, or you just if you want to go first, you can. If you know it.
I mean, because MJ is my number 1 across the board, no doubt.
Who's 2?
2's got to be Tom Brady.
Okay.
I don't know enough about the Bill Russell, Kareem stuff to even, you know what I mean? Like, for me, if I look at it, like Tiger Woods is probably is right up there. If that's what's included, I don't know if I include that. I mean, was he the most dominant of his sport at that time? Absolutely. Like
Jack Nicklaus, though, he still has the record.
Still got the most majors. Like, so I don't know how.
And then you could argue.
To me, I just don't even like the argument. I just don't like the argument in general. I don't think there needs to be a greatest of all time. I think all of these guys collectively are hands down above everything
else. What about Babe Ruth? Was Babe Ruth in the list?
Of course. You look at some of these guys that were just dominant. How do you look at how is Mariano Rivera not in this? Like, you know what I mean? Like the guy straight shut everyone down every time he came in a game.
All right. So your 1 is
Jordan. I can give you a 1 and a 2 from there. I don't think I can.
2 is who'd you say was 2? Brady.
Tom Brady. I think you have to.
All right. Who's 3?
I don't know. I don't even know where to go from there.
But what about Mayweather? What about Michael Phelps?
That's what I'm saying. I think if you would have to go with
Carl Lewis.
You could do all that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You expand this and really look at it. Like it's just room for argument all over.
All right. How about you? Let's. You have 1 and 2 established. Why don't you name the people that you think belong in the conversation of the top athletes? This is basically what we're saying, top athletes of all time.
Yeah. Then it would have to be like Phelps, Tiger Woods. I mean, how do I not put LeBron James there?
LeBron James definitely should be in here. I mean, I mean,
to me, that's just how it looks, or just how it is. I think Babe Ruth has to be somewhere in there.
How could he not be?
You think of baseball, everybody
he had a bazillion home runs when the most home runs a guy hit. He hit more home runs in a season than teams hit in the whole year.
Right. Like you look at Brady, he's got more Super Bowl rings than franchises.
He has more Super Bowl rings than most he has more Super Bowl rings. He has twice the amount of Super Bowl rings that the average football player's career is.
Yeah.
He's got 7 rings. The average football player doesn't last more than 3.5. How about that? That's an incredible stat. He's got more rings than 99% of the guys have lasted, probably. Okay. Anybody else?
Bill Russell, I think, is another name that you can add.
All right, so go through sports because that's probably the easiest way to do it. So you name basketball, you name you think LeBron, Bill Russell. I don't know enough about. I know he won 10 championships, or whatever he won. No, 8 championships or something crazy. So obviously he deserved. But that was a great team too. Like I know Bill Russell He wasn't the best player, though. See, this is my whole thing of the Bill Russell argument. Like, Wilt Chamberlain was the most dominant player. Bill Russell was the best leader and the best team guy with the best surrounding skill sets. But, like, he had a lot of other players around them. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any comments in there. I'm
looking at winningest athletes of all time.
Bill Russell has to be number one.
Yes. 2 college championships, Olympic gold medal, and 11 NBA championships.
11. Where did he play at college?
University of San Francisco.
I knew that. Darn.
And it included a 55-game win streak.
They won 50. I mean, he's obviously a great player, great leader.
Michael Phelps, 28 Olympic medals.
Has to be. He's top 5. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Rocky Marciano, undefeated 49-0 boxer.
Yeah, but
Jack Nicholson, 18 majors.
Didn't fight Joe Louis until he was older.
Right.
Joe Louis was old when he fought him, and during his era, never had another great champion to fight. Like Joe Louis, I would put in that argument. Joe Louis beat Max Schmeling. Yes, that was one of the most significant fights of Nazi. You know, he was of Nazi Germany. You know, and he lost to him the first time, and then pounded him the first round the next time.
Then you have 2 golfers, Jack Nicklaus with 18 majors, then Tiger Woods with 15 majors.
Who's after him? Arnold or
I don't know. This is just an overall list. Then you have Yogi Berra, 10 World Series rings as a player and a coach.
No.
Henry Ricard, 11 Stanley Cups.
Yogi Berra always reminded me of he was one of my assistant football coaches, but he was our AD at Saddlebrook. He passed away, Mario Alia. He reminded me so much of him. The gym is named after him. When you worked at Saddlebrook, the gym, the Mario J. Alia gym.
That's right. Okay.
That's who taught me how to play DB, man.
Joe DiMaggio has 9 World Series championships.
Joe DiMaggio, definitely.
Now here's Kareem's numbers: 6-time NBA champ, 3-time college champ.
Kareem was the most dominant college player of all time. They changed the rule where you weren't allowed to dunk because of Kareem.
Huh.
Kareem was unreal. Went to Power Memorial High School.
Yep, that says that here too. That won 71 straight games.
He didn't like. He was the great. He was probably the greatest recruit of all time in basketball. Like how Marcus Dupree was in football is like
right. I mean, he was the biggest.
He was yeah.
Huh. Roger Federer, 20 Grand Slams.
See, I don't know enough about tennis. Is that the most ever?
Yeah.
See, it's hard for me. Like, wow.
Pete Sampras has 64 career titles, including 14 Grand Slams.
I feel like tennis is weakened a little bit.
Then you have Jordan, Brady, Serena Williams, 23 major single titles.
Well, okay. So if we're including the ladies in this, Serena Williams is up there with Michael Phelps.
She's the first woman on this list.
Yeah. I mean, she's won. I mean, it's insane what she does.
Then you're getting into some of these, like the old school Otto Grahams.
No.
They got Lance Armstrong.
Well, isn't there an asterisk next to him?
Yeah. Mickey Mantle, 7 World Series rings.
Mickey Mantle.
Carl Lewis is on this list.
Mickey Mantle was unreal. No doubt about it. Mickey Mantle played drunk for his whole career.
So did Babe Ruth for most of it too. You got Magic Johnson, Bart Starr, Montana, Lou Gehrig, Kobe, Shaq, Babe Ruth.
Lou Gehrig.
6-time World Series.
Lou Gehrig had the is it still the record? The hitting record?
No, the longest game streak. Yeah.
The longest game streak. Longest game streak. He broke it. That's right. Cal Ripken. How about Joe DiMaggio's hitting record? Is that still the record?
56 games straight. Yeah, that's still there.
And
that's an impressive list. I mean,
and he was married to Marilyn Monroe.
Right. That it does say that on here. Floyd Mayweather is an honorable mention. Derek Jeter is an honorable mention. Terry Bradshaw.
Marilyn Monroe should have stayed with him.
Oh yeah, she would have been.
Her life might have turned out different. You know, Joe D was all right.
He's a straight dude. I don't know. I think it's a hard argument, dude, for any of this stuff. I think you have to, if you want to establish this, then you have to establish exactly.
But Marilyn decided to go marry Arthur Miller, playwright, clown.
That didn't work out well.
Looking at that, who probably was so insecure being with Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
Joe D was probably but Joe D was a good guy. But Arthur Miller had to be insecure about being with Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, 100%.
Especially since JFK was,
doing his thing.
Maybe RFK, who knows?
Yeah, everybody.
Nobody knows.
I don't know.
Sad story. All right, now on to the good thing. So you kind of reeled off. All right, so you want to hone in your list a little bit, or you just want to kind of keep it where it is? That's 1 and 2. You're done.
1 and 2, and that's it. I would cut it off after 1 and 2.
Okay, so I would say what Tom Brady has done in the most difficult thing to be dominant is probably the most impressive. He's not physically more impressive than Michael Jordan. He can't do anywhere near the things that Michael Jordan can do athletically. I'm not comparing him as an athlete on athlete. I'm saying what he's accomplished in a sport that requires so many other people to be involved. That's why I think he's the greatest, because
I agree.
It's so hard and quarterback is, and I get it more than ever. You can see it with Mahomes too. The quarterback and Aaron Rodgers. The quarterback is the central part of the football, but you're still talking about a defense, special teams, 10 other offensive players. The ability, he must have leadership skills that we can't even like. I'd like to do my PhD. Ooh, let me write this down because I just had a thought. Yeah, thank you, Troy. Are you laughing at the fact that I had a thought? Or are you all right? So
I agree in the fact that, like basketball, Jordan could, when he wanted to, take over and just win the game. You can't do that in football.
You can't do that in football. He still needs other guys to catch the ball. He still needs to put it in the right spot so they have a good chance. He still needs to be able to motivate the other guys, to be able to stay with it. Now, football is easier, and I will give this. The difference between, to me, football and basketball is most times in basketball, your lead isn't safe. I think that's a fair thing to say. You get up, even if you get up 15 points,
it's still not, like the door is never shut.
The door's never shut. They're going to press you. They're going to get points.
Right.
They adjust their game plan so quickly. Football, if you get up by 2-3 scores, essentially is what end up happening. You do have a little comfort level. It's very difficult. Teams press, and more bad things begin to happen. In most cases, every once in a while, like what happened to Houston in 1 year, the greatest debacle of all time. That's rare. Most of the time in football, you get a 3-touchdown lead.
You're good. You can coast.
You're pretty good, for the most part. So I think that's the one big difference in the sports. But having said that, I think he's what he accomplished, even surpasses. And Michael Jordan's my favorite athlete of all time, just because of his mindset and everything like that. But and I'm a football guy saying this, like my favorite athlete of all time. But I have to say that what Brady has accomplished and been able to do, and I think the fact that he went to Tampa, like if he did this on even though it was really impressive because he didn't have any receivers anymore, but if he did it on the Patriots, people would always associate it with Belichick. The fact that he stepped out of that and went to the Bucs and did it again is amazing. And if somehow he wins another one, I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen. At his age, I mean, 43, like Michael Jordan was long retired at this point. There's no doubt to me he's the greatest basketball player of all time. I think Brady's won
2-1 on my list, though. If he wins another one,
yeah, I think, yeah, right. I think it's capable. And I have to say, in fairness to LeBron James, if he keeps playing and wins,
if he wins two more, 3 more, possible.
Just that Michael Jordan every time kept winning them.
He was 3, retire 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
I think they might have lost in the playoffs the first year back. Am I wrong?
Yeah, when he got his ass whooped by the Detroit Pistons, and that's when he realized I better start listening. Like, I better start lifting.
Right. So, the bad boys.
They beat the piss out of him.
Bill Laimbeer.
They jacked him up.
What was his name?
Mahorn. He didn't win until Scottie Pippen got there and all that stuff. Okay, well, Tom Brady's had Gronk.
But that's why I think what he's been able to do. Now, Scottie Pippen couldn't win on his own. Close, but couldn't. Then I do think there were some guys that did things that were so incredible in their sport that I think Serena deserves to be. I think what it's amazing because
still doing it.
Could still do it. She's won. They probably don't even have her doubles titles in there.
They don't.
With her sister, like
singles.
She's won like probably more titles with her sister as a doubles champion. So I think that's Serena, Michael Phelps, absolutely. I think when you get to track and field, Carl Lewis in a where speed is at a premium now. Track and field's tough because he did lose to Ben Johnson there, but Ben Johnson was on the juice and all these different things. And there's so much stuff thrown around in track and field, especially at the sprinting area. You could argue Usain Bolt is better than Carl Lewis. Probably. He just focused in the 100, 200. But in the events he did, I mean, he broke every world record there was. He still holds it. And it made, he did it for 12 years. I mean, that's incredible. So you could argue him. And now basketball-wise, you could say LeBron James is in the conversation. Bill Russell's in the conversation. Obviously, the number of championships. But, my thing also is that are you the greatest player in your era as well? And I think
that adds to it.
I think Wilt, Wilt and Kareem probably. Oh, no, Bill Russell might have been gone by the time Kareem came around, but he must have. Wilt definitely played against him. Now, Bill Russell handled Wilt a couple times, but Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain physically was as dominant as Shaq was physically. He was more dominant. Like, I just think they didn't coach. They didn't bother to coach him as much as they could because he just basically controlled the whole rim, controlled it. Baseball's tough because the Yankees have won.
The juice era, you have all that stuff. Like, so comparisons.
I think there's only one baseball player to me that should be on that list, and that's Babe Ruth. Because Babe Ruth was that much more dominant. Not just like if Babe Ruth was playing today, would he have hit as many home runs? I don't know any of those answers.
Right, but I'm just saying the same person was. You know what I mean? Like with all that,
he was so far ahead of
right. When you're talking errors and all that stuff, there's so much more that goes into it. You know what I mean? Like for when you play, you just kind of go along with what's going on and do whatever. Like imagine if some of these athletes back in the day had the technology that the athletes today have. You know what I mean? Like it's all over the place.
It's all relative. Babe Ruth also was so far. First of all, not only was he the best home run hitter. He was the best hitter, meaning getting on base. Okay. He was the best pitcher of his era. He was a 20-game winning pitcher, which is crazy. Like I mean, for his time, so far ahead of the curve. And then
like it.
What's that?
Like he was so far ahead and executed. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't talent wasted.
No, well, maybe there was, because maybe you could have hit 1,000. But sports were obviously not as popular, not as many people were playing it. But someone so far ahead of the curve. Babe Ruth definitely deserves to be in the mix there. He's the only one in baseball that I think deserved to be in the mix. And that's a tribute to baseball, because they've had so many great players that it's hard to make a distinction between so many of these great players like Mantle and DiMaggio and Mariano Rivera and I don't know, I mean, there were so many great pitchers back in the Nolan Ryan,
right, I mean, these guys threw, now, and those guys threw complete games, 9 innings a game. These guys throw 5 if they're lucky, you know what I mean? Like,
and we're forgetting it. I don't like bringing the sport up, but soccer,
right? Pele was on that list.
Pele and Ronaldo. I
mean, these guys are freaks.
Ronaldo looks like a running back. 6, like 210 pounds, lean, at 6'2". And obviously Pele was. Did you ever? Oh no, you weren't around then.
Pele is the only soccer player to be part of 3 World Cup winning teams. He led his original club team to 10 championships, and he was the 1977 North American Soccer League championship with the New York Cosmos. So
I watched him play.
Blue freak.
I watched him play with the Cosmos.
No matter what, and that's where I compare it to a Tom Brady. Like, doesn't matter what team he's on, they win. And Tom's only done it 1 year. Now, next year, if he gets back there again.
And soccer's very hard because you need a lot of people. It's just less. It's
work.
Yeah, you need 10 other people working, so it's hard to be completely dominant. But Pele was the best. I mean, Maradona, who just passed away, he was probably among the best. I'm sure I can't think of the Italian guy that everybody likes.
Messi.
But I don't know. First of all, if someone sees a great soccer player, like a little kid sports, if I want people to immediately identify with how good that kid is, the only player that everyone understands is if I say that kid's like Pele.
Right.
Everyone understands that. Like Pele, no matter.
Right. Just like say like, hey, that guy's like MJ. You know what I mean? But I mean,
that guy's like Jordan.
More recognizable.
That guy's like Jordan.
But that's what I'm saying. That's
like Brady.
You can tell a top person when someone has no idea about a sport, you say the name, they know it.
What's that, Troy? Michael Jordan? Or Brady? Well, you know who Brady is, the quarterback of the Bucks. Jordan.
I would put some judgment on it. Is if you walk to any random person in the street and say Michael Jordan or Tom Brady, do they know who you're talking about?
I would say yes to them. Yes. Yeah. I would say yeah. I would say yes. Woods, yeah. Tiger Woods, yes. I'd say Woods.
And are they global?
Woods and Nicholas are equal on essentially
fucking international.
I think if Tiger Woods didn't win that championship he won, I
don't think he'd be mentioned.
No, because
a couple years ago,
by coming back and winning the Masters
after he had gone through all of it, and especially after I watched that documentary, whoa,
things that he, I have to watch
it, bro.
I gotta watch. I gotta watch that documentary.
It's
there's so many things I have to watch, but I don't get a chance to. And then, I'm trying to think if there's any other sport. What other sports did we miss?
I mean, there was one on here that I thought it was cool and interesting.
Car racing? Car race. I don't know.
Kelly Slater.
What is that? Is that surfing? Oh, surfing. Or Tony
11,
Hawk?
11. He's on here too.
Tony Hawk?
ASP World Championships. His spanning an incredible 18 years from age 20 to 38.
How about Sean White?
Those guys got honorable mentions.
Like
Andre Agassi, Tony Hawk, Tim Duncan, Stephen Graff.
Is Mark Spitz on there?
Spitz is on here. Terry Bradshaw, Sean White, Ben Hogan, Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather is the best at his
Larry
thing.
Bird.
How about Muhammad Ali?
Not on here.
Joe Louis?
Not on here. Lynn Swan is on here.
Someone from the Chariots of Fire?
Oh, no. Never seen it. I just know the intro. But I think that's it's definitely an argument. It's definitely why does everything have to be a list, man? Like why?
I just realized, my arguments for a bunch of people. I mean, listen, the greatest, and I know you don't know that much about track and field, but the greatest single performance in track and field, but people might not put her among the greatest because she only did it. She was in another Olympics where she finished second, but she only did it really in one Olympics. It's Flojo. Flojo's times still
off the charts.
See,
and I think that's what's different about track and field is you actually have something to be measured upon, right? So even across the eras,
she's the greatest.
Across the era, if that time is what it is, you beat that time. You know what I mean?
And how about the guy who broke? This is a recent guy. The guy who broke 2 hours in the marathon. That guy, I can't even think of his name now.
I'm pretty from Kenya.
He's the first. He is from Actually, I think he might be considered an American. I don't know. I have to look. Like I was like the Americans
can run, bro.
Listen, the Americans used to never be considered that great at distance running, compared to Kenyans and Ethiopians. But what happened is, in order for them to be able to live more sustainable, they would immigrate to America, become American citizens. So now America has among the best distance runners, but they're not really homegrown citizens as much. But they came from Africa and moved here and got citizenship, and because they go to college here, and then after a certain amount of time period they become citizens and they stay. But it's interesting, if they get married, I guess, to an American, they get to stay. But I'm trying to think if there's not that many other countries that are represented in this greatest of all time list other than Pele.
No, I think you kind of they keep it. They're keeping it close to the
Martina Navratilova on that list.
I don't know. There's a lot of honorable mentions. But the honorable mentions, excuse me, they just put that's just to cover the whatever, so that if they miss someone, hey, she's on this list. You know what I mean? Or hey, this person's on this list. We put him as an honorable mention. I don't know.
If there wasn't a Serena, would Venus be? I don't know. Your own sister is the greatest. You're probably the second or third greatest of all time. That's interesting. Some interesting. I saw a really cool. This is from Football Scoop. The article. Did you read this article about Butch Jones and what he said he learned with Saban at the?
No, I saw it. I didn't read it.
They call it. I like our name better, but they call it the Nick Saban School for Rehabilitating Coaches. I don't like that. I like that for coaching excellence. But he said that with Nick Saban, you have to be on your toes because he call me in on a number of occasions and ask my opinion. What it forces you to do is you better be ready. You better bring something prepared to the table. It will be better. It's better be well thought out. It better be detailed. It better be authentic. When you get called in to ask your opinion, it really forces you to do your research. It really forces you to do your due diligence. It challenges your conviction and what you believe in. I would say my greatest training was my time with Nymphius, my brief time with him, because that was exactly what had to happen in our coaches' meetings. And if he asked you something,
You better be prepared.
And you didn't know what he was going to essentially ask you, so you really had to be prepared for everything.
Right.
And if you weren't prepared, you look like a fool. And I can tell you, when I went to Old Japan, we all had to be prepared. And we used to call, like, it's funny because I've been a head coach a few times, and I've only had my full staff at Pal Park Leone when we started to get to the top level for us, could handle the call outs, and when they were not,
you got to know the pulse of your, you know what I mean?
They were, well,
and
no.
I don't know if this generation,
TJ doesn't care,
and that's the difference. I don't know if this generation
can handle
that.
So that was the last time this is like 2012, 13, and that I was able to have a staff that could I learned it from DJ, and I've adjusted myself because I agree with you. I don't think a lot of the younger coaches can handle it in that capacity.
No way.
So I adjusted how I do it, and I really had to adjust it. But I without losing my convictions. But when you can do it, it is great, because what happens is, like at Old Japan, the year we lost to the state finals overtime to Riverdale, and then I think you guys played them the next year. We would have these drag out meetings where dudes were called, like we almost got in fights. Like
I think when you have a staff like that understands once we step outside, it's all good.
It was all good
because we care, and because this is the passion that we have. I think that warrants greatness.
Oh yeah, like we guys would send texts, "Hey man, you're not mad or anything." I'm like, no. Like you might have walked out of the room mad, but you knew it was for the greater good of helping the team get a chance to accomplish the things they need to accomplish. And if you could get to that, I mean, I think most cases you need enough guys that have been there for years. In my case, I was, because I was in between head coaching positions when I was there. I was a seasoned veteran that could, once I realized, what the environment was similar to my Riverdale environment, I realized, okay, yeah, we could like get after it and it not be not end up being toxic. And if people are able to do that and put their egos aside, you can get amazing results. It's no different than what you see them do in big tech, those big tech companies. And now this is so many years ago when I was in tech, but like even now they still, we would talk to each other frankly, and it was brutal. I was shocked at how these little tech guys would talk to each other. I was almost like, whoa, this is before I was coaching. And guys would talk to him. She's like, no, that's how you have to talk to him. If you don't talk to him that way, then he's going to go and eat sandwiches and not code and, do whatever and get distracted playing games. Like, because they'll game, because they're so smart that they'll go have a little fun, play games on a computer. You know what I'm saying?
Right, rather than doing work. So you got to let them know how it is.
Yeah, and so if they make a mistake on a code, and someone's investing a lot of money, it's a big problem. So now that's, why are those guys so successful and make so much money? Because they're able to go to that elite level and handle just brutal arrangements, literally brutal arrangements somewhat, but it shapes you, it does shape you. But anyway, so him saying that, it's interesting because he realized how you have to hold them accountable. Now I think you have to do it a little bit more in being as direct. A lot of people cannot handle that in the same capacity.
Definitely not.
You got to massage that at the same time that you're direct with them. But I mean, I think that's the way, man, because you find out pretty quickly what the other person knows. And when you're defending your position and someone has an idea that's better than yours, and and everyone realizes it, you realize it, you're like, you kind of get to, all right, you know what? That might be a better way to do it. And it gets escalated to what's the better idea. Like, there's more than one way to skin a cat, but you're escalating the ideas to figure out like the best ideas. Like, I would come in and I've started to do a little bit this year with you guys, especially defensively. But I think it'll get more and more as we get years in. But we would come into a meeting from Old Japan, like, and DJ would do the same thing with me on the line. He'd be like, I don't care how you block it. When I was the old guy, I don't care how you block it as long as it executes this play the way it needs to. And then I would block it, and we'd be in practice, and we'd be like in team, and there'd be an issue, and he'd be like, why you block it? Why do you block it that way? And he wasn't saying it like it would to the normal person, it might come across as like he was dismissing you, but what he really wanted to know is, why are you blocking it that way? Because I know there's other ways to block it too. Why are you not, and you explain it, and he'd be like, I don't care as long as it gets blocked. That's fine. If you want him to climb instead, you got to make sure you get it done. Like, if you want to block it that way, you want to trap it that way, right. And I learned to love that. And then when I was with Coach Dunn, he'd be like, because obviously I'd been good on offense, and he runs a little bit different style of spread than I do. And he would be like, hey, you okay, bud? Yeah? What'd you slam into? The truck? My toy. All right, you'll be all right. So the one play I said to him, he said, what? I'm looking for a pass play that will get me a first down. That best first down play. Now, what do you know that we think is the best? If you can execute it over and over again, what would be some of the best first down passing plays that you like to run? For example, so you probably like the curl as your maybe number one, or maybe that deep comeback that you guys would run with the what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like the first down comeback play, right? Like, that's like, quote unquote, maybe one of my favorites. Although I did like how we started to execute the curl a little bit. So now in my head, I'm like, for years I couldn't get people to get it. And this year you convinced me to go start it right away. When I started it right away, it gave him a chance to get decent at it. And I think it's definitely a way to go. But when I gave him that one, I said, if we have this guy, if we have this person, we'll get a first down every time on the comeback route. And we happen to have that guy at Old Japan, and we would get the first down every single time, right? And we had that last year. We got that first down every single time, right? Yep. So, and then this year our group was a little bit different, so we had to figure out like what was a better. Like, I think the curl and like the corner be post, even though it's a longer play than normal, would seem to be better, even though
better with what we had.
Right. So, but that would be the question, like, and it would be like, all right, well, what do you think's our, what's the best play action play off of power? He would ask me, what's your favorite? The way that we used to run it off of Old Japan, and I'm sure he still does it. I used to love his wheel off of it with the fullback. Troy, please.
Right, because nobody's expecting that, especially if you set it up.
Right. So with the sniffer, and he'd come out and you dump it off to a few times, and every once in a while he turns up. Right. So, that's one of the great plays. He loved the play action. If you ever watch Old Japan games, at some point in the season, they're going to get you with the tight end down the middle of right down the seam.
All the time.
Because they set it up, and that's like his number.
And that's just what they do.
That's just a great, great play, So, Troy, can you do me a favor and tone it down a little bit, bud?
Yeah, but I get it. Like that, it's just a matter of I just don't know if I warrant. Look, listen, when we were at Bosco, man, and you're straight up, everybody's coaching one side of the ball. Even when I was at West Orange, and everybody's coaching one side of the ball. You know what I mean? Like you just start getting after each other. But it's at the end of the day, it's all for the good of the group. And if you take that stuff personal, like when you walk out of that locker room, when you walk out of that meeting room, it's over. It's done with. You know what I mean? Like if you carry that stuff with you, you got problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. People, we're definitely, and it's been accelerated over the last year and a half. It's a different culture now.
It's and sometimes it's hard.
It is.
You're trying to get something across, a point across, and I'm trying to worry about winning a game. I can't be worried about feelings being hurt. Like, and I know it sounds insensitive and I know it sounds whatever, but that's where you have to know your other coaches and you have to know how to approach a situation the right way. You know, just like
you have to show them how much you care before they care how much you know. And that is always applied to athletes and it always should apply to coaches. But now more than ever, you got to make sure that they understand that you're on their side first.
Right. Like, look, I'm with you and I understand it, but just, why? Tell me why.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part. Like with kids, you've always had to do that no matter whatever. Although maybe you could argue during the Bear Bryant era where he tortured those guys, maybe you didn't have to do it. But any modernized era, you really had to do it that way and allowed, so. Anyway, so I thought that article was really, really good, and I
think they'll be successful.
I just thought it was interesting to hear the perspective of someone who's been a head coach, and now he's going back, and he feels like he's got things learned because of it. The other thing, how about Taylor Heineke getting signed for $8.75 million, basically off of one game?
Not bad.
Not a bad deal right there. $8.75 million.
Nice little payday.
I mean, you can't beat that. I thought that was one of the interesting surprises. And then you know what else I didn't realize, and I talked about it yesterday, Shaq Barrett's personality, man. Is he hilarious?
He's different, bro.
Oh,
I think
man.
That's exactly what you need in a DN, though. And did you realize that? I thought this was a great stat, too. JPP is undefeated in the playoffs.
Is that true? So with the Giants, and then
4-0 with the Giants, 4-0 with Tampa Bay.
That's incredible.
8-0 in the playoffs and Super Bowl.
And I noticed that he doesn't even bother. He just plays three fingers he has on the one hand now.
Just goes.
He was mashing those guys. Like he doesn't have this quickness.
And he took the fourth quarter off.
He was just squeezing the guys down.
And I only know that because I had a prop bet for him to have over 3.5 tackles, and he had 3.
3, I know.
I was pissed.
I went through those stats there.
And Gronk missed. I had Gronk on 2 different prop bets. One was over 69 yards receiving. He had 67. But I did get him on the first touchdown of the game.
That you hit on that.
Hit on that. I hit on first scoring play of the game would be a field goal by the Chiefs.
Did we go through what you have your stuff from when we went?
I have some of them. Yeah. I mean, I had. I finished.
You did good or bad?
No, bad? I did good. I just think the amount of bets I put in was hilarious.
It's stupid. It's dumb.
Like 20. I think it was over 20.
Oh, I couldn't do that. I would have.
But it was all on and it was to a point where things were happening, and I just had to keep refreshing to see if I won or not. Because
right, because you didn't even know what you had at that point.
What I had at that point.
Well, I predicted Tom Brady would have 3 touchdown passes. Got that.
Well, I don't think anybody would have predicted
Mahomes 0.
Mahomes having 0.
I bet you if you bet Mahomes was there, did they have
to not throw a touchdown?
That must have been a huge prop.
Another one that I missed was Gronk and Kelsey to score.
Gronk 2 touchdowns must have been a huge
big one. AB
scoring had to be a huge one.
There's a lot of things that happened in that game that were just random.
Well, how about the
sack of the game? my kid, like, you know what I mean? Like I had a couple of that. Like I don't know. It was interesting, but it's people go so crazy when it comes to the Super Bowl because it's one game and it's all this, and it's just some of the stuff is just like asinine. Like I'm sure you saw the streaker.
Yeah. I was just gonna pull.
I heard he went to cash in on that and they wouldn't let him do it.
Oh, they won. He won $350,000.
Is that true? Because I saw a report today that said when he went to cash in on it, they were like, "Nah."
Because he did it.
He did it.
But didn't he still win the bet? Like
I don't understand. How do you tell a guy no?
How do you tell him no? He still won it. Like he still got it done.
And if that's actually true and he worked that out, then he's like the mastermind. Like
that's genius.
All right, so I'm going to get banned from Raymond James Stadium for life. It's going to cost me $1,000, but I'm going to make $357K. I'm doing it. Like
I'll show you 2 videos. So here
you juked the hell out of him.
I don't know how I get rid of this.
I saw your breakdown.
Oh yeah.
This was the guy right here. This guy takes it right. Boom. Oh.
Yeah, I did. Oh yeah.
I did like how he like slid.
It looks like he has good size and moving around. Oh, he's got someone pursuing him. That makes a move.
Oh, right there. That's brutal.
And then he gets laid out here, which I didn't go into.
You see the trooper at the end, though, who's chasing him from behind, kind of like jumps over him in the end zone because he's going so fast.
That's so funny.
Did you hear one of the announcers was doing it, and it was so funny, his announcing of it. And he's like, oh, he eludes a defender. He's got a bra on. This guy's got a bra. Oh, he's pulling down his pants. It's like, oh, man. But it was good.
Craziness.
I don't know. Wild world.
That
if
is
wild.
wild.
Then he's like the smartest dude ever.
Unbelievable. Yep. That is quite the deal. What other I think that's about it for there's not too many news.
Well, we're gonna see how this goes now with the offseason. Next thing up now, you got draft. You got some free agency, you got the draft. I've heard as many as 5 quarterbacks possibly taken in the first round. Who knows?
Really?
So I think we'll dive into that as we move along here. Should be interesting. Draft is you got free agency first and then the draft. So we'll see.
Yeah, that is interesting. I see a bunch of people in college it's a jobs galore now going on there.
Yeah, all the lower end jobs.
The lower end, yeah. And then right now, yeah. Well, the higher end is filled usually by who they know. Oh, what's interesting? So spring ball's coming up. Actual spring college football. So is there, and it's only FCS, right?
Playing. Is there
an FCS rankings for 2021?
FCS rankings for 2021.
Like, do they have a?
Yeah, but Monmouth's in the top 20.
They have a preseason.
I'm pretty sure they did.
All right, let's see. Athlon, yes. So number 1 is North Dakota State.
Right.
Number 2 is Weber State. 3 is Northern Iowa. 4 JMU. So the CAA is playing. They have 8 games. South Dakota State, Kennesaw State, Villanova. I thought Kennesaw was going D1. What happened to that?
Maybe another year.
Is Monmouth still playing them?
Monmouth's playing. I don't know if they're playing Kennesaw.
Well, they're in the same conference.
But some teams, I think, out. Like, I know Campbell's not playing.
Okay. Nichols, Illinois State, Sam Houston State. Is that Wheeler Dealer?
Dealer.
Casey Wheeler Keeler. Southeastern Louisiana ranked the top 20. That's interesting. Eastern Washington, Southern Illinois, my man Nick Hill. Back when I had my agency, I used to pull quite a few Southern Illinois guy. Real good guy, Nick Hill, head coach there. New Hampshire, 14. Furman, 15. Furman, man. When we went down what's that?
Purple.
Yeah, purple colors. But let me tell you about this university. It's in South Carolina. Small school, really high academic school. They have like curfew at like 8 or 9 or something like that. Like very
like Western South Carolina, right?
What's that?
It's like Western, it's like inland, right?
We played them, and did we fly? I guess we must have flew. We played them when I was a redshirt freshman, and softest field I ever it was like a putting green. It was interesting, and it was like a beautiful campus. I was like, wow, the South is. That was like one of the. I think it might have been the first time I had been like really into the South. I was like, wow, pretty cool area. Jack State is 16. Jacksonville State has. Do you ever see all the tweets by that one coach? He has some really a ton of tweets. Sadler.
I'm gonna have to look into it.
He's got all kinds of cool stuff from recruiting. North Carolina A&T, interesting. Albany, Austin P, Wolford, Monmouth, 21, Delaware, 22, Southeast Missouri. Where is Jack State not in the mix? I guess they must not be there yet. I'm curious to see.
Good games, and they will be.
He is the number one class in FCS, I think.
I saw that.
I mean, I guess his son and his son's teammate might be the biggest contributors to that.
Yes.
How about
his son was a pretty – I mean, he was going to Florida Atlantic, so –
Is D3 playing?
Yeah, certain D3 leagues are playing. Depends on the league. So the NJAC is playing, but it's a small schedule. I believe it's only 4 games.
Okay. So it's almost like a regular spring ball, except you get the
spring ball. It's spring ball with games.
Yeah. Did you guys used to have? Do you have spring ball?
We had spring ball. We had 16 practices, but no pads.
With no pads. And did you have guys?
My first year, the year I transferred into Montclair State was the first year they could even use a football.
Oh, really? Okay. So what was it?
It was just you were just working out. You'd go on the field and go through a script. You do just everything without pads.
And were there any guys that played like 2 sports at Montclair?
Yeah, bunch. We had a bunch of track guys.
Oh, you did? Oh, really? Okay.
A good amount of track guys. Like 2 laxers, 2 lacrosse guys.
Baseball? Any baseball?
No, that really wasn't, because baseball's a lot, especially at a D3 level. Like you're just traveling all over, you know what I mean? There's just a lot to it. So no, that really didn't, happen. But it was there was definitely a lot of track guys and definitely a good amount of lacrosse guys that always played ball.
Because at FCS we
I loved it. When I was at Sacred Heart,
nobody playing
football, and then we had a spring game. Like it was
spring game.
It was awesome.
I could tell you this though, spring, I was there 5 years. But I didn't do spring ball last year. So 4 spring balls. I made it through my first year spring ball, but I did get injured at the end. Although I played with it, and then I got surgery after. Next year, I played spring ball. I made it all the way through. I did not play well. The next year, I played very well in spring ball. Broke my hand.
Oof.
But played all the way through. And then my last year, I got hurt in the middle of spring ball. I don't think I made it. I might have played 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, I got hurt, and then I didn't get to play. I only played in 2 spring. I played in 2 spring games. That's it. 2 out of 4. The other 2
I loved it. I thought it was spring ball was so fun for me because it was kind of like a time to establish yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like an up and comer. I mean, and you could just go balls out. And I mean, I was so banged up.
It was all hitting.
All hitting. And I would, because
you couldn't hit. You guys couldn't hit. It was all hitting.
No, but I'm saying when I was at Sacred Heart and when we did it and it was full pads, oh man, I had so much fun. Because it was just like nothing to worry about. And it was nobody cared whether you hit or not. So you were just going all out, smashing people, still trying to establish yourself as someone who could solidify themselves as someone that was going to play. And oh man, I just had so much fun. And then a spring game, spring game happened, and then like a week later you were done with classes. So it was just like that whole week was just like a melee. Like I can remember it just being absolutely crazy.
It was physical, I could tell you that. Did you guys have winter workouts?
Smash it. Yeah, I can remember. Oh my God. Yeah. We had 5 a.m. workouts. When I was at Sacred Heart, and then Division III, we had workouts. We had winter workouts, but it was more afternoonish, kind of so that you could keep that window open of, we always had 1 to, we practiced at 3 from 3 to 5:30 or whatever it was. So you always kept that window open for spring semester. So that's when we kind of worked out.
Yeah, we had that. Those winter workouts were hell.
They sucked.
Oh, they used to crush you.
Sacred Heart winter workouts were brutal.
Did you guys have them in the morning?
5 a.m. Yeah. That first one back from winter break sucked.
Yeah. It was quite the deal. It was torture.
But I wouldn't change it, man. I had so much.
You had the greatest bonding. We used to. My dorm was like, I don't know. It was like a big dorm, like a huge dorm. A lot of athletes lived in it. We had an okay calf, but it was like, it was one of those more. We had great ice cream, but it was more generic style calf, like you know what I mean, like lots of people in there. So, but there used to have, and you probably wouldn't have had that at Montclair. You may have had something like this at Sacred Heart, but they used to have these small dorms across from my big gigantic dorm that were like much smaller. Like they had like many less residents, and they each had their own kitchen. Okay, it was much smaller, but they would make food to order, which was just so awesome. So we would have winter workouts
and then just go.
Yeah, so you get out. I don't know. Class was at 8 in the morning. A lot of times, guys at class. So we had. I think our workouts were at 6 a.m. or 5:30. I don't remember, but we were there for that. So we would get over there by like 7:15, 7:30, and I used to crush the chocolate chip pancakes. My God, they would put whipped cream on it, and they would be huge. And then I would get eggs with it and bacon, and man, it was and you'd have not all a lot of guys would just go to the big dorm, and which I would do if I was in a hurry.
Yeah, but you could that way you could go get what you want.
But you could go get what you want, and it was custom, and you would come out, and everybody would just sit there. It would only be the kids who lived in that dorm obviously had that luxury. I could see their faces, but there's big giant football players in there, so their faces were like, "Oh my God, why are all these football players in our dorm eating food?"
What are you doing?
And we would just be eating like mountains of food, and they would make she would make the chocolate milk to order. Like you could get more chocolate in it if you want. I was obsessed with that stuff. Oh my! And you could get anything you wanted. Anything you wanted, she would cook it for you. And their cooks were so good.
They did.
Yeah, but when you went to my big dorm, which was, they had to make so much food. Sometimes
there was more personable.
Right. Sometimes it was really good. Sometimes it was okay. But that place was the greatest. What a memory that was. It's still etched in my brain. You just after a workout like that where you just ran for an hour, you so valued.
That's all you wanted to do.
That meal. That meal was so great. And as much as you worked out, I would still have I would be losing weight even though I was eating like a pig. It was
Right.
great.
Because
Totally
the amount of calories you burned.
it was so great. Anyway, well, that's what we got. Good show. And any final thoughts?
Let's move into the lull of what is no football on the weekends now, but I think we can keep it spiced up and good to go.
Maybe with this spring ball. I think it starts this week. College football. Are they going to have games on TV?
I don't know. I'll look into that tonight and see what the deal is, because that would be phenomenal.
I'd like to see opening day, North Dakota State versus Southern Illinois. That would be a good game to watch.
I'm hoping it's indoors.
Well, is North Dakota State? Are they outdoors or indoors?
No, North Dakota State's in a dome.
Which one has that? Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa has the dome. Does North Dakota State have a dome?
North Dakota
Dome
State is indoor too.
What's that?
Yeah, they're indoor too.
Oh, so wait, North Dakota State is indoors?
They both are.
Oh, they are. I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Bisons, right?
Sure. North Dakota State. This is I'm not 100% sure on that.
Hell yeah.
Indoors. Is it?
Absolutely.
Fargo Dome? The Fargo Dome. The Fargo Dome.
And who was the other one?
Southern Illinois is definitely outside just because I've been there. But I think they're at North Dakota State.
I would think they would travel.
That's a cool stadium. The punter probably could hit the top of that dome, though.
Oh, the dome?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And they got, they're losing one of the best prospects.
Quarterback. Right, because going to the draft.
Trey Lance. So we'll see if it's on TV. I think it'll be good, but we'll look something we can touch on and look forward to. That's for sure. But
all right, brother. Great
wrap
show.
it up, man.
Let's
Another one down.
Oh, Troy, you wanted to be on. What did you want to discuss? Tomorrow we'll bring you on. You got to figure out your topic. All right. Let's get the outro.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Football and the Kitchen Sink with Coach Schuman and Coach Depascale. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. If you like what you heard, leave us a review and be sure to tell a friend. We will meet you back here next time on Football and the Kitchen Sink.